See, the Jewish custom was if someone needs help and they go to a relative to ask for help, they have to go through a particular little, I don't know what you call it, thingy. Process. Where they lie at the feet of their relative and put themselves at his mercy. And now here for Boaz, here's someone doing that to him. And you see his heart. He says, I will do my duty. Knowing that his life is changing. Knowing that it's not the way he planned it. Knowing that it's not the way he was hoping it would work out. But it's changing. But the nice thing is, it involves a nice woman. A nice girl. And you see, that's always a good plan. That's what happened to me. My plan was to be a missionary. I was going to go to Booga Booga Land and share the gospel. And I went to college to prepare for that. One of the things that I had to learn was how to speak Booga Booga. I took technical courses so I could provide for myself when there weren't any mechanics or carpenters or plumbers or whatever around. I don't know if you have plumbing with that, but anyway, I was going to be ready. And then my final semester, that all went blue. And I went home to Craftsbury. And I'm feeling with the Lord, what's the deal here? This is not the plan. And then there was this girl. She didn't sleep at my feet. She just walked by every day went by on her bicycle every day I went out to get the mail. Now, you understand I had to do careful planning of when I was getting the mail. And all of a sudden, my attitude changed from what kind of deal is this, Lord, to wow, this is a good plan. And I have been blessed beyond anything that I could have planned for myself. Have you ever made a plan that went bluey? Or have you ever made a plan that didn't seem to work out the way you hoped or wished it would? I want to encourage you to do the same thing that they did here in the book of Ruth. Fall back on the Lord's plan. The thing that they found out, the thing that I found out, is that God's plan is better than my plan. You see, I didn't have the girl in the plan, like he did. I didn't have so many things in the plan. Pretty early on in my life, I figured out I didn't know what was going to make me happy. And then if I did figure out what was going to make me happy, I probably couldn't do it. You know what I mean? But the thing about walking in the Lord's plan is that God not only knows what will make me happy, but He can do it. And so the theme of the book of Ruth, I thought this was very clever the way I said it, so you might want to write it down. Stop struggling with your plan and settle into His plan. Can I say it again? Because it just sounds so cool. Stop struggling with your plan and settle into His plan. You see, that's what they had to do. They were struggling with their plans. And Naomi wound up bitter, and Ruth wound up not knowing what was going on. And Boaz is like, how's this all supposed to work? But when they settled into the Lord's plan, they began to see how it all was coming together. They began to see the things that God had for them. They began to see what He had to bless them. So how do you settle into the Lord's plan? You begin in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. That's where we begin. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Settle into His plan. And then we move to Romans 12, 1 and 2. Offer yourself to Him as a living sacrifice. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And you will know what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. You can settle into His plan. Basically it says, put your lives in His hands. Put your life in His hands. I'll tell you what, it's a much safer place for your life to be than in your hands. Well, I won't say that for you. I'll just say that for me. It was a much safer place for my life to be in His hands than in my hands. And we're just beginning to find out how all the good things that God is doing in Naomi and Ruth and Boaz's life. But I have had several years now finding out God's plan for my life. Being blessed by God's plan for my life. And that nice girl that I met, she's surviving it mostly. For which I'm very thankful. But God has a wonderful plan for your life. And He is able to do His plan. And He is able to accomplish His plan in your life. And your two choices come down to, are you going to struggle with it or are you going to settle into it? And if you settle into it, then we get back to our first hymn, where you get to stand by the river of the peace of God that flows through your life to bless you. Naomi went back to being Naomi, not Mara or bitter, because she saw God's amazing plan in her life. Ruth, a stranger in this land, now begins to fit in, now begins to see God's working in her life, now begins to see God's plan in her life, and she is amazed by what He is doing. And Boaz, that nice Jewish boy, he had the same reaction that I did when I began to discover God's plan. And that is, cool. Cool. I asked some young person recently, is it still okay to say cool? Because you know, I didn't know if that's a 70s thing. I'm from the 70s. And they said, no, it's still okay to say cool. But that's what Boaz's reaction was. This is cool. This is amazing what God has in mind for me. This is amazing that I can be a part of it. And you can have that reaction as you settle into His plan. So especially if your plan goes bluey, be encouraged by the book of Ruth. Settle into His plan. Watch the wonderful things He's doing in your life. Because He certainly wants to do that. Let's pray. Father, I am amazed that you are willing to include me in your plan. That I don't have to struggle on alone. That I don't have to count on just whatever I can do. My strength, my wisdom, my ability. But I can count on all that you are. Father, I pray for anyone here today whose life plan has gone bluey. Help them to stop struggling and settle into your plan. And help each of us each day to get to know your plan better. To put ourselves in your hands. To share that amazing plan and all the blessings that go with it. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen.